Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's
Woo-wee.
go.
Welcome back, traders. Today we're
I
going
wake
to be
up to
talking
a
about
little bit
NEO
of drool. I'ma
stock,
pull up, feel
baby.
like it's gonna be
Stock ticker NIO, and giving you the breakdown of the good, the bad, and the ugly on this stock, what it is shaping up to be on the macro time frame. So if you guys are into NEO stock, right, slap the like button, punch the subscribe button, and let's jump straight into it, NEO family. And we're going to start with the bear case scenario, right? So the bear case scenario is going into Monday. You had a very important trend line that you had just recently lost in the last week, right? You fell beneath it, retested it, and then failed to hold. What happens next is most likely, in my opinion, right? This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I do want to bring you guys the cold, honest truth on what I expect to happen. Even though I'm still bullish, I expect you to come down and fill this gap at 459. Now, filling that gap, in my opinion, traders, and the sooner you do it, is going to be the most bullish thing that you can do because NEO stock so often loves to freaking fill its gaps before it sees another run up. I'll give you one textbook example. All right, stay with me. This gap was currently at 451. We called for it all the way up here, traders. People were losing their mind. But what did you do, right? Stock made a head, shoulder, or shoulder, head, right, shoulders, and you came all the way back down, teased it, and then came for the full move and then double bottomed and reversed out of there. Now, in that double bottom, traders, you made a gap right here. I hate that you did it. I actively was very kind of angry that you did it, but you did it. And I think that it's very likely that you could potentially get one of those tease moves if you haven't already, right? And then come all the way back down for a quick little peel back to get this gap fill. Once you get it, traders, there's a couple different things that can happen, right? You could reverse out of this, reestablish this uptrend as strong freaking support that it has always been on this stock, right? Up 44%, up for the full move is 132%, and then this tap here was up 57%. Losing this uptrend is, of course, never going to be a good thing. But if you're able to get back inside of it, traders, and make a broken or a busted pattern, so often are those the best reversal signs that this thing is not done yet, and that this thing may go for a little rippy here. On the short-term time frame, you do have this resistance. That's pretty much exactly at $5. That is the top of that shelf. Looking at NEO on the daily time frame, you rejected the 9-day EMA and made a shooting star candle on higher volume than the previous 1, 2, 3 days. Now, this is why I say off of the technical confluence that I believe in the short-term frame, you may see a little bit of a peel back. And that's okay, right, NEO family? Looking at the broader picture of the stock, even though you're trading within this falling broadening wedge, even though you have this death cross, even though you've done absolutely nothing for the last 3 months, right? 77 days. I do believe the best is yet to come. And maybe I'm a silly goose. Maybe I'm a silly trader for thinking that. But looking at the structure here of a shoulder, head, right shoulder, and particularly this double bottom in the left shoulder, double bottom in the head, and the double potential bottom on the right shoulder here, it's shaping up for what I believe to be a nice little turnaround story. And when you look at how close you are, even this local low, right, double bottom, NEO stock is particularly just always double bottoming, right? A big fat you know what it is, as one trader once said. Looking at this potential here, it's very possible you come and fill this gap and then you V-line out of here. And I think it's so because you still have this uptrend, right? Even though you lost a very important piece of technical history on NEO stock, losing that previous uptrend that we just spoke about, you do still have this uptrend from the double bottom, right? Double bottom, the rejection off of this double bottom, and then the support off of this double bottom. So it's very possible that you make another double bottom, inside the double bottom, inside the double bottom. But all jokes aside, right? What that would look like, right? The structure on that. You're pretty much coming down either to this trend line at 460 starting next week, or an equal double bottom. And I believe this wick here is, what is the wick? What is the low? How low can it go? Can it go down low? 438, right? So 438 is what you would watch for your potential lowest point in this double bottom that you can expect to see. Now, if you do not see that, right, no problems. If you do see that and you fall below it, what's our scenario, right? Because you should have an action plan, whether or not you're going to V-line out of here or whether or not this thing is going to lose the double bottom, right? Lose your structural horizontal support. So if you lose this horizontal support, traders, at 238, losing that support would not be great. It would most likely, in my opinion, take you down to what would be this double bottom of support, right? So when you start to look at where you have support and resistance, right? And you take a little peeky weeky on the stock, losing this 430 takes you all the way down to 361. That's probably not what a lot of people want to hear, right? But that would be the structural band-aid that you need to be ripped off in order to get this V-line, right? Because every single time NEO stocks get into this value area, right, look at the volume and look at the rip in the other direction that you see on this freaking stock. Now, we all know, right, if you guys have been watching me for a while, we have covered the macro fundamental developments on NEO, right? We all know that this company is better off than it was 12 months ago. So the fact that you can get shares at 363 compared to 2024, right? That's insane. That's genuinely, absolutely bonkers. And I would take it every step of the freaking way, right? Coming down here gets you a symmetrical shoulder, head, right shoulders. But there is still that possibility for the right shoulder to be a higher low. In my opinion, that's the most likely scenario, but we should be prepared for either. Right. So now let's talk about the good scenario, right? Let's talk about the good stuff, the ooey gooey, bullish stuff. That's where my realm lives. I'm a freaking bull, tried and true. So covering the bullish side of it, right? We just had a death cross. Even though it's bearish, look at the last time you had your death cross, right? Look at the last time you had your death cross. 114.26. Your bottom was pretty much in when you got that death cross, right? We'll measure the full move. You traded sideways for about 54 more days or 37 trading days. After that, traders, you V-lined, right? You found a technically lower low and you V-lined. Same thing here, right? You just got your death cross. 57 days or 37 trading days. I want to say it's like right about here. You're talking August, right? In August, you're pretty much coming in, if you stay flat prices to this downsloping resistance, traders, I truthfully believe that the best is yet to come, even if you take a while here, kind of consolidating and forming a base, right? Because what comes after the death cross? Oftentimes, what comes after the death cross is the test of the death cross. You got it pretty much here, right? That automatic reaction, even though the cross wasn't in yet. And then you had a little bit of a test here, trading into the 50 and then the 200, rejecting it, making an equal low, and then popping, right? We should expect to see, even though maybe that's your automatic retest, and then this thing trades sideways and up to the right, and then tests this thing, fails, tests, fails, and then pops, right? That's the kind of price action that I think I'd want to see as a NEO shareholder, even though you've rejected the 9 and you put a shooting star candlestick. So fill the gap, test the 200, and then fill these juicy gaps above you, right? You have 2 technical landmarks left from this slide down that I'd like to see you fill, the top one being 497. All right, traders, let's get further and deeper into this deep dive on the bullish side, all right? So your right shoulder here making a hair of a volume exhaustion trend, right? So you've seen throughout this entire, after the 3 rising volume bars here, as well as the 3 white soldiers candlestick formation on the monthly, one of the most bullish reversal signals in the market. You saw 4 months of dry stale price action and then volume increase, and then now it's decreasing again. Now, traders, I truthfully believe unless you have the lowest volume node since back here in May of 2025, you are going to break this downtrend in volume. You just are, right? If you see anything in the previous month's worth of price action, which last year this time you saw the bottom 42% candlestick. I believe you're going to break this downtrend in volume, whether it be a hammer candle, right? Whether or not you come down and then come back up, or you start to see this thing peel up a little bit and break out. Breaking this downtrend in volume will lead to good things, in my opinion, right? That's where you see a lot of this stagnant, slow, methodical price action and accumulation come to an end, traders. And that is what's going to be the most exciting thing on Neo Stock, because Neo Stock, once upon a time, we used to say cannot stop, will not stop, Neo Stock, because this thing just kept going up, right? And I do truthfully believe that at some point you're going to test 771 and you're going to break this downtrend in the price, right? So this is a newfound downtrend from this most recent tap up here at $7. You take the top from July of 2023, you take the top from October of 2025, the top from April 2026, and that would give you your very intact downtrend that, breaking, in my opinion, leads to higher prices. Now, looking at the stock, right, you have a touch of pretty significant bullish divergence here on the daily time frame, right? Look at where you went back in December of 2025, right? You were right here. And look at your most recent low, right? Very clear uptrend, equal horizontal support here. So that is important for a potential double bottom thesis here if you're going to find a bottom right around the same territory that Neo Stock held up last time. I think it's pretty likely, and I think you may see this thing kind of chop a little bit more before this thing says it is ready, and then you lift off, right? Because once Neo starts to run, it is not going to leave any time for the non-believers, for the people that do not or would not position themselves in the stock. Now, like I said, I'm not a financial advisor, right? Do your own due diligence, but I like this kind of touch of bullish divergence, because when did you get it back here, right? This is another great example of Neo Stock repeating itself in the exact same formation that you had previously, right? Look at this equal low on this double bottom. Freaking equal as it gets, right? Equal horizontal support. Look at the RSI, right? Bullish div, and then you lift off. And from that lift off, you saw 115% casually, right? In a very short time frame, right? You're seeing days 14%, 10%, 5%, right? This thing was absolutely cooking it. Now you look back here, right? Bullish divergence, horizontal support. There's a very likely scenario in which you fill this gap and then you absolutely rip, traders. And I'm going to be here every step of the way, right? I'm going to be here every step of the way, but I do believe you're going to see a little bit more of a peel back here into your horizontal support, traders. So that is going to be the most important thing on this stock, and that is what we're going to continue to cover. On the monthly time frame, like we talked about, you've now had 1, 2, 3 volume bars decreasing. Now this month, we're going to see how it turns out. It's very possible that you have a month similar to this, right? A doji that's red or a green doji on lowering volume, in my opinion, is going to be the most bullish case scenario in seeing the volume trend exhaustion, right? You saw it here, 1, 2, 3, 4 months of decreasing volume before you saw a bottom and a pop in price, right? I was calling for it every step of the way down here. I'm going to be calling for it every step of the way as the volume continues to trickle. Seeing that hopefully allows you to break this resistance and get into your macro horizontal resistance, traders, at 771. 771, breaking that, traders, boom, right? That leads to your kind of breakout move that will lead to, in my opinion, 400 to 500% higher, right? And why do I believe that? Because I look at the historical relevance of that level, right? That was your neckline back here before you saw a spring up 54, 59, 11, 44, 65, right? All those back-to-back green months. And although you may not see that same kind of price action, history does not repeat, but it does often rhyme. And I'm starting to look for it to rhyme once again, right? So all that to say, traders, God bless each and every single one of you guys. If you enjoyed the Neo content, right, slap the subscribe button and let's get straight, hopefully, into the week. As always, if you take anything away from this video, take this. I do truthfully believe the best is yet to come. Let's go, Neo family. Woo! Let's freaking go.